The gator, huh? You have some gators loose in Chicago? That's kind of crazy. Wouldn't expect to see that up in Chicago. The local zoo didn't have anyone who could catch it.
Yeah, it's supposed to be crazy hot in Boston this coming weekend, up to 100.
Yeah, it's been pretty hot here the last couple days.
Where are you, Garrion?
Indiana.
Yes. Home of Stranger Things.
That's right. Been watching the latest season.
Yeah, I just watched it the other night, a couple nights ago. Finished watching it.
I think we're only up to like episode 4 or 5 at this point. Alright, so not sure if you guys didn't hear me, but someone give us a recap. So that Pixel knows what we did last time. From your character's perspective. No, Cloak will no longer be playing with us. So, Chappie is MIA.
He
You guys
fell off the ship.
Yeah, you guys never saw him after you disembarked. He must have got held up in customs. Maybe had something, some sort of paraphernalia that got him a one-way ticket to jail. Or maybe just some saucy wench distracted him. Alright, so last time Barney and Kansas went to the Penhew Foundation. So Kansas and Barney.
The what foundation?
Penhew Foundation. So Kansas, tell us about what happened at the Penhew Foundation. Yeah, he must have dabbled into his books just a little bit too much. Yeah, we'll let him move to whichever investigative activity he wants to join in on. Of course, he naturally wouldn't be at the Pinhue Foundation since we've already kind of tackled that one and spent the whole day there. So that kind of resorts him to in visiting the inspector, or perhaps maybe just hanging out at Barney's house and chilling and relaxing. It's kind of up to him what he wants to do. You've got 3 potential leads so far here in London. So, in case you're not on the same page with us here, Pixel, pull up your party sheet and go to the Order tab. And on the little mini map there, I have 3 active quests that you have so far here within London. 3 things that you know about to investigate as your starting point. And so Barney and Kansas went to the Pinhue Foundation. Charles and Irene were heading to visit the inspector. There's 1/3 item, which is visiting Mickey Mahoney. And then we have our wild card down at the bottom that is just for other things. Welcome, Brice.
Sound check.
I can hear you loud
Okay.
and clear.
Loud.
Great. I got a new mic, so I don't know. It should be better.
Yeah, it's a little bit louder than your previous mic. I mean, it's not uncomfortably loud, but
it's pretty loud on mine.
Okay, how about now?
That's a little
That's
lower.
better.
Okay, I've got one lower and one okay. Is it good or up or down?
No, I'm
Down
saying
a little bit more.
that was lower than what it was before, so you're going in the right direction.
All right, how about now?
That sounds good.
Alrighty. Thank you.
Sounds about on par with Pixel. So, we were just doing a little bit of a recap. Kansas is typing into chat what happened last time. I think you were here with us, weren't you, Brice? You just had to step away early.
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah, I thought so. We didn't really get to do your activity, so we're going to jump into the little journey of Charles and Irene and Alonzo, since we covered most of everything that was taking place at the Pinhue Foundation with Barney and Kansas last time. Oh, I was just looking at your token, Alonzo, and it still shows that you have your bout of madness. I think we had taken care of that while you were on the trip from US, from New York to London.
Okay.
So let's take that off of there.
I didn't kill anybody.
Let me see if I can find where those effects are at.
My father's penknife brought me back to reality.
Oh, Alonzo, everyone did get a uh, good night's rest, and I don't know if you were privy to making um, your good night's rest luck roll, but because of my poor memory, I'm gonna let you go ahead and make one.
Okay, how do I do that?
Just roll luck on your character sheet. Okay, now roll a d10.
Do we roll those at the end? I don't know if I rolled mine.
No, since you were here last time, you would have rolled yours with everyone else after getting the night's rest. We're still in the same day, so there's not been any further
Beginning,
rest.
okay. Yeah, beginning of the day, yeah.
Okay, so what you're going to do, Alonzo, is you're going to increase your luck from 29 by 2 points up to 31.
Got it.
We did some skill stuff last time too. I don't know if you had to be here for that or not, but we had that downtime for like where we're shooting and.
Yeah, that was while you guys were traveling on the boat. We've had several sessions since you arrived in London, and
Was he there for that?
Yeah, he went through all of the upgrades.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I went through customs.
Gotcha. Is the other guy a no-show? I guess he's out of the group.
He is out of the group. Yes, that is correct. So
Did he write and tell you at least?
Yeah. Well, I contacted him through direct message. I had been sending stuff within this server and never heard anything, so I direct messaged him, and he said that he wasn't going to be able to attend due to his schedule. So
All good.
So, Barney had some cane swords in his in his house, and so apparently he's a collector of cane swords, and so he had enough for several people to get one if they wanted.
Sure, I'll take one.
Okay, so let's copy a cane sword over to your character sheet here. I'll just copy it from Barney. This is a Now you can look like a proper British gent walking along with your bowler cap and your cane sword.
Excellent.
Are there a lot of
Where's
Asian British gents?
Probably not too many.
Where's the umbrella attachment?
We have the League of Incredible Gentlemen here. Alright, so since everyone is here, since we've done our little bit of a recap, let me read through this and see what Kansas was telling you, see if he led you astray. Yeah, so in a nutshell, everyone got up the next morning, kind of hung out at Barney's place just a little bit, talked about the options, and divided up into groups. And Barney and Kansas went to the Penhew Foundation. Charles, Alonzo, and Irene were going to head to visit Inspector James Barrington. During the session, we mostly just got to focus on the Barney and Kansas party. We didn't get to take care of anything with the inspector, so that's where we'll jump into today. Let me give you a quick calendar update. So this is, of course, from the perspective of the inspector group. The other group, they spent pretty much the whole day over at the Penhew Foundation. After they met with Edward Gavigan, the director, and talked with him briefly about a few things pertaining to the Elias Jackson Elias, and then also the Carlisle expedition that was briefly mentioned as well. A few pieces of information shared, and then they found out about the great wealth of information about Egyptian archaeologic finds and different expeditions and journals and all kinds of things in their private library. So they paid for membership, and they have access to that library. The public, there's a museum that is open to the public, and so they also went up into the museum and kind of perused the different items up there as well. And so that's why they spent the whole day. They had quite a few things that they did after meeting with Edward Gavigan. So now it is the morning, kind of flashing back just a little bit so that we can find out what happened with the other group. So you guys leave the apartment and or the townhouse, and you catch a taxi or a double-decker bus or some mode of transportation, and you make your way to Scotland Yard to visit with the inspector. Okay, yeah, because I think you had bought a pass for Chappie, but we'll just transfer that over to Alonzo instead. Alright, so first thing I want to do here is to pull up my information on Scotland Yard.
It'd be a nice little side quest. Find the chappie.
Yes, who knows what happened to him? Maybe he was abducted by cultists.
I think he was a cultist.
He could have been.
He had a lot of knowledge.
Maybe he was a spy. Maybe as soon as he got off the ship, he went and warned them that you were in town and you were going to be looking into them.
Chappie them all.
You gotta watch out. Trust no one, especially those Asian dudes.
Hey!
James Barrington.
See, it would be way too obvious for me to betray you guys.
That's what a cultist would say.
I think a cultist would take on the personality of a cop.
Yeah, they already did. You said a cop, right?
That's what I said. What'd you think I said?
I don't know, but you're not a cop. You said you think they'd take on the personality of a cop?
Talking about you, Kansas.
I'm not Kansas. I'm not a cop. I'm Charles, and I'm FBI.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah, we're
It's been so long.
It has been a while.
giving him a little bit of slack. He's not been gaming with us for years, like everyone else has.
As soon as you learn who everyone's character is, you'll forget. We'll jump into something else. That's what happens. I think voice helps, though.
Okay, here we go. So I think I gave you guys a quick blurb about just London Police Force in general. I'm gonna put that back up again for Alonzo. I really hate that I'm gonna have to start pasting stuff into Notepad and fixing all the carriage return errors. Holy crap. Alright, there we go.
Have any trouble with the Peaky Blinders down here?
Mind your own business.
Aye, and who might you be?
Doctor Who.
He's got a Scottish accent.
I've actually never seen the show.
Yeah, I'm not a Doctor Who person either. Okay, so you guys are heading to go see Inspector Barrington, and so are you going to make any phone calls prior, or are you just going to head straight on over to Scotland Yard and try to seek an interview with him once you get there?
What do you think, Charlie?
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of want to see the area, really. I mean, this is Barney's backyard. I don't really know what we're going to accomplish.
Let's just take a chance to go over there and see if this Jimmy Barrington's going to speak.
Yeah, we'll follow Irene's lead. I think she seems the least likely to get in trouble since she's from here and she's hot and sometimes she can talk nice. All right, Irene has my gun, by the way. We did that a while back. She has one of them. Another one's at Barney's house, so I am unarmed except for my knife.
Okay, so you left that back at the apartment. Good.
I left one at the apartment, and Irene has the other.
Yeah, she was trying to trade it out and get you a suppressed firearm.
But she couldn't, so she's carrying the other one right now. Hopefully, if it gets bad, she can hand it over.
What are you doing with that, Irene? Are you actually carrying it in your bag, tucked up your dress?
I could give her my holster if it would fit. I don't know what the temperature.
Okay. And, Charles, did you take one of the cane swords?
He probably walked around with it and just felt really weird and probably put it back.
45, is a pretty good sized gun, so that's going to be kind of difficult for you to hide underneath your dress. Now, of course, it is winter, so you probably have on a big winter coat, and
you can wear my holster if that'll help. I don't know how much space you got in that purse. I know Dame's always got a bunch of stuff in there.
And last time, I don't think that Alonzo was with us either whenever we were dealing with Irene's visit to her office and her talk with everyone there. And she had some stuff going on. She paid a visit to Q, and Q gave her some nifty little trinkets.
Ooh. What'd you get?
Yeah, in character, Alonzo doesn't have any knowledge of what Irene is really about. Are you still playing the guise of the reporter, even here in London? Yeah, it's easy enough for you to maintain.
Hey G, how would it work if I wanted to try to persuade Irene to tell me her real name? Could I do that? Or would that be like a... I don't know if I could use that on another...
I wouldn't make that something that would have to take place based on a skill roll, because she's another PC, and you know, trying to get someone, especially something like that, I mean, it's not like it would be a slip of the tongue or a faux pas or something like that. Now you could like do some digging and some investigation to try and figure out her real name, but I highly doubt that Irene's going to tell you unless she wants to tell you. You know, you could try sleeping with her, see if that does it or not. Uh, you know, you could do some research. You could try and dig up some dirt on her.
Well, if I want to sleep with her, I hope I brought my blackjack.
A lot of drinking, yeah, possibly. But yeah, just on the whim of, you know, the dice, I wouldn't say that she would have to tell you her real name just because you would succeed at a opposed skill roll.
Alright, fair enough.
Now, what could happen, though, you know, you could do like an opposed skill roll to maybe see if she lets slip some clue or something like that, you know, that then you could use um, to make it a ongoing investigation, you know, type of thing. But yeah, something, you know, just like a single skill check and here's my name. I don't think that would be very realistic.
Yeah, I'll try to get it at an opportune time, like she's getting ready to get eaten by something. I'll be like, I'll kill it if you tell me.
Alright, so you guys, I didn't see anything about making any phone calls ahead of time, so so you guys just head on over to Scotland Yard, and you head into the mall. Someone's been watching Seinfeld. It's Dolores. It's Dolores. So you enter into the busy Scotland Yard office. There's police officers all over the place, going to and fro on various different tasks, business. And there is a man at the front desk who looks like someone that you would approach if you needed help with someone.
These are your people, Charlie. Go on ahead.
Wow, we're gonna let Irene take the charge on this one. What do you think?
More her people than Charlie's people.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I ain't British.
Let the
Just
lady
because we're all white doesn't mean we're all the same people, you know.
Talking law enforcement, you idiot.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, Irene, I think is law enforcement, at least this alien.
Thought she was a reporter.
Yeah, I think she's full of shit. I mean that with all due respect, Miss Ward. I already threw her under the bus before.
Go ahead, Nancy Drew. Go talk to the man at the desk. That sounds like a euphemism.
Don't get your hopes up. My gun really is in her purse. Besides, I don't know if you want to put your gun in that purse, if you know what I mean. You might not live to tell the tale.
Especially with the small caliber you're packing.
Not affirmative. Actually, I don't. That might be affirmative. I don't know what stat dictates my my package. That's probably a luck roll, and I'm pretty low on luck right now, so I don't. I don't want to roll.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't believe we have an inspector here by the name of James Baring.
Barrington.
Yes, it was Barrington. I'm just being difficult. Because it's in character. Oh, yes, yes, Inspector Barrington, yes. Is he expecting you? Well, what could I tell him that you were inquiring about? Jackson Elias. Okay. I will see if he's available, if he has any free time for the press. Please have a seat over there. He motions towards some benches that are setting up against the wall. there's some other people sitting on the benches. They look like perhaps maybe they're waiting to see some officer to file a report or to come for some sort of testimony, and there might be a criminal in handcuffs sitting down at the end of the bench with an officer standing next to him waiting for processing.
Hey Irene, did you ever meet the Elephant Man?
Are you still talking about penises?
What the? Man, you've got a
No, you don't need
one-track
to
mind.
make a charm check. That's fine. I mean, if you want to make a charm check after the fact, then to press the issue, if he blows you off or something, then you can at that point. But we're not going to worry about it at this point because you basically just came in and asked to see him.
No, that's probably no. No, probably not.
After a period of time waiting, you're kind of getting a little bit anxious. You don't know whether or not you're going to be granted audience or not. You do see the man return back to the desk, and he just continues with some paperwork and everything. He doesn't call you up to the desk or acknowledge you or anything else. He just returns to his work. You wait for a little while, and we're going to call it probably half an hour or so. What is your reaction? You're going to wait patiently, or are you going to get impatient?
I can start a fight if you want some kind of distraction so you can sneak on back there.
I don't think that'd be very wise unless you want to be staying here for a while.
Just an idea. Didn't you say this Inspector Barrington was recommended by Jonah Kensington? Maybe you can drop that name?
Jonah Kensington was the one who told you about him.
Do a little name dropping, Irene.
That Jackson Elias had gone to go visit him while he was in London. Okay, Irene, so you approach the desk with a smile on your face and pleasant demeanor. The guy looks up at you again. Yes, ma'am?
Jeez, Alonzo. I feel like we're at the doctor's office. This is taking forever.
Yes, ma'am. I went and informed Inspector Barrington that you were here to see him. He was in the middle of something and said that he would be with you shortly. If you'll have a seat, then I'm sure it shouldn't be too much longer.
Jesus, can we at least get some tea or something around here?
You go back, have a seat, and about 10 minutes later, you see a man who comes out into the waiting area lobby, and he appears to be a weathered and seasoned policeman, dressed in a suit, not really all that highly kept. It's a little bit shabby looking, but you know, relatively nicely dressed nonetheless. Let me pop up a little image for you here.
Yeah, it's Cthulhu.
He greets you and says, "Miss Ward, I'm Inspector Barrington. You wish to see me? Please come back to my office."
Are we going with her or what, Charlie? Dexterhaven. Nice to meet you, D.I. Barrington.
Yes, you as well. Now please, let's come back to my office where we can talk in private.
Nice digs you got here.
He doesn't respond to any off-the-cuff comments that you might make. You kind of get the feeling that he's a fairly straight-cut, by-the-book, down to business, type of individual. Not much of one to engage in idle chit-chat.
So D.I. Barrington, still looking for Jack the Ripper? How about the Elephant Man? You ever meet him?
My goodness, I thought that we were meeting about something meaningful.
Just making small talk. It's something we do in the States.
Yes, I should expect nothing less from a Yank.
Yeah, it's me. You in the war there, D.I.?
You talking about the Great War?
None other.
Yes, I was in the service.
What'd you do?
Infantry.
Yeah, down with the plebes, huh? Down in the trenches.
Yes, how about yourself?
Oh, I was, shin splints, they didn't take me. I tried to volunteer, but they wouldn't take me.
Yes.
It's probably because you talk too much.
Well, here we are. Please, ma'am, enter. And he motions and holds his hand out to a seat that's ready for you. There's only one seat in the room.
I'm pulling the chair out for Irene to sit.
Well, it's already pulled out. It's kind of tilted at an angle where all she has to do is just kind of step in front of it and sit down.
Okay, well, she was in the lead, so
Yep.
I push her out of the way and sit down. Just kidding.
So after she enters and has a seat, he steps on in to the room and moves around to behind his desk, and he looks to the other two gentlemen. I'm sorry, gentlemen. There is no other seats in the office. You'll have to stand while the lady sits.
Of course.
No problem. I'm just gonna lean back against one of the final cabinets.
So what was this business about Jackson Elias that, did you say that you were here with the newspaper? Let me scroll up. Yes, the Manchester Gazette. So what is this business with Jackson Elias that the Manchester Gazette is interested in? Look of surprise, concern. Not really the look of someone who has lost a dear friend or anything like that. Just kind of like just your passing concern, for someone that you happen to have known that's has been recently passed.
It was a pretty gruesome scene. We were actually at the hotel. We got both the people that did it.
Is that so? And what was the nature of this? And why are you here to see me about it?
We think the story might go a bit deeper, but I'll let Irene fill you in.
That is most interesting. He kind of sits back in his chair a little bit. He has his hands clasped and he's kind of twiddling his thumbs a little bit, and you can tell that his mind is twirling and going over a few things as he processes the information and the potential ramifications of your statement and what that could mean for him. Yes, indeed, he was here. He saw me not too long ago. I think it was somewhere roughly about the 15th of last month, if I remember correctly. Or he says about a month ago. I believe it was about a month ago.
You have any idea what he was looking into?
Yes, he was wanting to know basically the same information that he apparently found or got a little too close to. He was looking into some of these cults, and he was wanting to know about cult activity here in London.
And what did you tell him?
Well, I'm not aware of what you would call cult activity, but more importantly, he was wanting to ask me about the Carlisle expedition.
The name seems to be popping up pretty often.
Yes. Well, he came to me because I've been put in charge of the investigation. What they're referring to as the Egyptian murders.
And what have you found out?
Not much. Is there really all that much to find out? I mean, they were killed in Kenya. Was it Kenya?
Have you had any strange murders here? Kind of like, I don't know, people being filleted open like fishes, or weird symbols carved into.
I'm sorry, you know that I can't share details about ongoing investigations and cases with the press.
Perhaps we can have some information to swap. I'm gonna flash my badge. I'm with the Federal Bureau of Investigation myself. I'm here to escort Miss Ward and make sure she is safe.
He kind of looks at your badge and says, "Ah, one of those U.S. investigators, huh? And you're just over here keeping an eye on Miss Ward?"
No, we just happen to be on the same path for the moment. I'm here on my own business. Miss Ward happened to be at the hotel where Elias was murdered. the same time I was, we ran into the scene in progress, and our paths crossed. London was on my trip, so I looked her up.
And so, did you also know this Jackson Elias?
I wouldn't say he was a close friend or anything, but yeah, he seemed like a good guy. No reason for anyone to kill him like that, unless he was asking the wrong questions.
And how about your Oriental associate here?
I'm here mostly to perform some moral support for these guys. I'm also a doctor, by the way.
I'll get to your psychology here in just a second, Irene.
Here for moral support, mostly. Miss Irene's been quite shaken up by all this activity.
So at this point, the investigator, he levels in on Irene and gives her a keen eye and says, "Now, Miss Ward, are you really here with the Manchester Gazette? Because your associates don't lead me to believe that the newspaper is interested in this."
Bring on that charm roll.
So then I assume that anything that we discuss is off the record.
So far off the record, Inspector.
So your psychology roll on him, Irene, tells you that he is pretty much, as I said before, kind of just that initial feeling that you got of him, where he was a man of few words and not going to engage in idle chit chat. You can tell by the appearance of his desk, by the way the papers are organized on it and everything else, that he is a very by the book, conscientious type policeman who follows procedure and isn't going to delve into a bunch of gossip mongering or anything like that. He has a job to do, and if it's not something that is going to be beneficial to him solving his cases, then he doesn't really have much time to talk about it. Now, you get no sense that he's trying specifically to hide anything from you other than the fact that it's police procedure not to start blurting out all kinds of investigative information to a bunch of strangers who just walked into his office.
Well, Miss Irene, maybe if you shared some information that the inspector might be interested in, he could do a little tit for tat.
Okay, what is the method of your charm? How are you going to play that out in character?
go for the tears.
Alright, so a genuine concern for your friend and wanting to get to the bottom of his death and who might be responsible for it, kind of a thing. And you're the only lead that... I mean, he's the only lead that you have.
Let him be your daddy.
Okay, I actually misspoke earlier. He is not investigating the Carlisle expedition at this particular moment. But Jackson Elias did come and talk to him about that a little bit. However, you do notice that there's a newspaper sitting on his desk. And there's a front page headline that says, let me see if I actually have a copy of the clipping here. It says, another Egyptian murder. Exclamation mark. However, the information that he wants to talk to you about, or that you inquired and that he's willing to share to you about Jackson Elias, says, yes, I understand your concern over your friend's death. You know, had his death taken place here, I'd be looking into it myself. It sounds like he may have gotten tied up in some nefarious circumstances. Perhaps some of the things going on here may be similar to may have followed, or perhaps his inquisitions here may have followed him to the Americas and led to his death. That's most disturbing. The newspaper looks like it's a few days old. Give me a perception check to see the date on it. Are you going to try and hide your query as you kind of check it out, or? Okay, you kind of lean over, you look at the paper and eye the date on it, and you notice that it was about dated about 4 days ago. I better put this on the calendar so I can remember. Four days ago, 1, 2, 3, that'd be the 7th. Another Egyptian murder! Exclamation. Okay, that is now on the calendar on the 7th. Yes, just something that I'm currently looking into. We've had a few deaths that have taken place, and I've been assigned the case. Now, you want to know about your friend. I did talk to him briefly. He was wanting to know about some of these murders that I was investigating as well. You said that the people who killed him left a mark. And what did the mark look like?
If you got a piece of paper, I guess we could try to sketch it out.
No, that's not the mark that's that I've seen used here. So must be he must have run afoul with some different people. There's been a few deaths. I'm sorry, Miss Ward. I'm really reluctant to discuss much about that case. It is an ongoing matter, and I acknowledge and respect that you said that you would keep everything off the books, but you have to understand that the information is sensitive.
So when you say they're Egyptian murders, are you saying that they were Egyptians who were murdered, or you suspect Egyptians did it?
No, there's an organization which is which originates from Egypt. Your friend had heard of them, and he said that they were an Egyptian death cult that he was familiar with. But this mark that you drew does not look like the mark that they used.
Well, maybe you can draw the mark that you saw, in case we run into it in the future.
And so
Yeah, most of what Irene writes doesn't even get published.
And so were you able to find the people who were responsible for? You said that you caught the people who killed your friend.
Yeah, we caught him. I kneecapped him, and we brought him to the hospital, and some strange stuff happened after that. They started disappearing. we think this goes pretty deep, multi countries. So I don't know if it all leads to the same source or not. If we just got a bunch of wackos, but whatever it is, it's a threat to not only the good British people here, but the Americans as well. And if we can agree on one thing, is we need to keep people safe.
You guys talked to Howard Carter yet? It's got something to do with the King Tut curse.
I do not know anything about any kind of curses. He pulls out a slip of paper, and let me see if I can find the image here. There it is. He shows you this symbol.
That looks like Egyptian Ankh.
Yes, as I said, the Egyptian murders. This cult originates from Egypt. We've not been able to find their source or the reason why they're here in England. I followed a tip presented by your friend. I got in touch with the Pinhue Foundation. They have connections to Egypt, and wanted to see whether or not they could corroborate Elias's information. I met with Edward Gavigan at the Foundation, and he confirmed a society calling themselves the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh had once existed, but they had no modern-day equivalent, as they had died out hundreds of years ago. Gavigan did, however, think that the method of murder imitated those of the ancient cult. I also found out that Elias had also been in contact with Gavigan. And Gavigan told me that he was just a sensation-seeking profiteer, and wasn't a very reliable source of information. So, what do you have to say about that? Being friends of his.
Are you gonna tell him that you don't believe Gavigan? You think Gavigan's a liar?
They don't know Gavigan. They've not had any contact with him.
Inspector, these Egyptian murders, do you know if they were ritualistic in nature? Or were they just beheaded or carved up or what? You got any information?
I'm sorry, but that is sensitive information that I'm reluctant to share with you unless you might be able to help me with the case.
I thought I already was, and I also thought this was off the record. I've been explaining details from our cultists back home. Gonna try to persuade him?
Yes.
Oh no. I'll push it, why not?
That's up to you. And so, oh, wait.
Oh, too late. I screwed it.
You have to, before you push a roll, it's not just a, you have to tell me what you're doing to push the roll. And then I tell you what the repercussions based on your approach. Because pushing isn't just a second chance of
Okay,
rolling.
I thought it was just a second chance.
Nope, it's not just a second chance. It's
Alright, so
and so what happens?
I'd explain to him.
Whenever you
Go ahead.
push a roll, is either you have to kind of go out on a limb. You kind of push the issue, maybe make a little bit of an ass of yourself, or something of that nature.
That should be easy.
And so, so there's always a repercussion for failing a pushed roll. It's not just, oh, I failed, whoop-de-doo. One, it needs to make sense for the scene, and you have to describe how it is that that you're taking that extra step and you're going out on a limb. And then based on your explanation of what you're doing, then I would say, for example, if you're going to kind of like get forceful with him and you're going to pull the US government card and we help you, you help us, kind of a thing. Hey, we helped you guys in the war. You wouldn't have won if it wasn't for us, kind of a thing. Depending on where you wanted to go with that, then
Technically, they would have won if it wasn't for us.
but anyway, then you either succeed, by succeeding at your push, or if you fail your push the second time, then you would like piss him off. He would kick you out of the office. He would refuse to ever talk to you again about the case.
It's pretty harsh.
And right, I mean, bad things happen, whenever you push a roll. Yeah, you call him.
All right, so
or something.
So what I would do is I would say, sharing this information would be, I think, mutually beneficial. And then if you want to say that, because I rolled, I'm not a metagamer or whatever. If you want to fail it, it's fine. You can just say that maybe he didn't want to share it, and I got a little upset. Like, I showed you mine, you didn't show me yours. Up to you, though. But that's how I would do it, is basically say, look, sharing this information off the books might save some people's lives. You don't want to be the one responsible for murders, do you?
As I see it, your case doesn't have any bearing on this case that is taking place here. So unless you have some meaningful evidence and a meaningful contribution to this ongoing investigation, then I believe that you should just keep your nose out of it. If you come across any kind of information and you want to come and share that with me, then at that point, then I'll be more likely to involve you in the case. But as I see it, your government has no business over here investigating this, and if you're acting in an official capacity, then I'm the King of England.
Hey, that's fair enough. If you don't want to share your information, I don't want to get in your way. Just trying to do the right.
Now you told me that you wanted to discuss your friend. I told you what your friend discussed with me, and if there's nothing else, then I have investigations and work that I need to do, and we're just wasting time here.
I can get the point. I'll wait outside and let you guys wrap up what you need to wrap up. I think the Americans will take off. Come on, Alonzo.
No, I think I'll stay in here. Let the adults talk, Charlie. You go outside.
Charles gonna put his hand on his shoulder.
I think you would be best going with your friend. This
He puts his hand on Alonzo.
This meeting is over.
I'm gonna try to get Alonzo out. Maybe Irene can salvage.
You get the feeling that he's a little irritated, and he's not willing to have any further conversation with the Yanks who have come in here trying to tell him how to conduct his investigations.
You didn't even offer us any tea.
Maybe they got like a tea machine in the lobby or something.
It's possible. They probably have like.
I look for a tea machine.
Yeah, they have probably. Well, I doubt you'd find a tea machine, but they might have like.
Yeah, where's Moneypenny?
A kettle with some hot water or something and some tea bags, so you can go tea bagging someplace. Because you rolled an excellent on your charm, Irene, I am going to not carry forth the repercussions of the rude Yanks over to you, because of the nature that you're British, and also you got an extreme success on your charm roll. You feel like he's kind of ticked off at Charles, but he smiles warmly to you. He doesn't tell you to leave the office and that to never come back or anything like that. He's at least receptive to whatever else you have to say. Yes, apparently so, Miss Ward. Give me an acting roll, Irene. Okay. So, Miss Ward, you said that you were here on a with a Manchester Gazette. Yet this was a personal matter for you. So am I to believe that you have no interest as a journalist in these investigations? Yes, your paper may not be interested in this murder in America, but should you find links or information about the murders here, as you can see, I saw that you were interested in this this newspaper article. I'm surprised that you weren't already aware of it. The media is all over these events. When did you arrive back in town? Ah, I guess that would explain your ignorance in the most recent murder, then. It is always possible that they could be, but you said that in what way was your friend killed? You said that he had a carving. And what else? That is most gruesome, but that is not how the people here have been killed. There's been a total of about 19 murders over the last 3 years. Each of them seeming to have a similar modus operandi. They're called the Egyptian murders because 17 of those who were killed were Egyptian nationals. So, the press quickly caught on to it and gave it the flashy name. They were killed by sharp force trauma. Each of the victims dying from a metal spike-like instrument of some sort piercing their heart. In addition, each victim also suffered both blunt and sharp trauma to the head and torso, possibly maybe a wooden club with nails driven through it or something. There was a witness who came upon a dying victim after hearing some commotion, and the victim cried out, "Hotep." I asked Gavigan about this, and he said that it was an Egyptian word meaning rest or peace. I initially believed that there was a single murderer who was behind these crimes and was some sort of a serial killer, perhaps someone who had something against the Egyptians. But forensic reports suggest that some of the attacks were committed by people of different heights, leading me to believe that perhaps there is a gang that's responsible. That would corroborate the information that your friend said about this being some sort of a cult operating here in England. No, we have not caught anyone up to this point. There's very few leads that we have on this case. I don't want your Yank friends going around stirring a bunch of problems, though. The more noise that you create and ruffling feathers, then it's just going to make my job harder. Last thing I need is some trigger-happy agent from the States coming over here thinking that he can solve our cases for us. I'll warn you not to dig into this case too much, though. I picked up this case from my predecessor. Inspector Gregory Munden. He disappeared mysteriously and has never been found. I can only assume that he got too close to the culprit and was assassinated. No, he's never been found. So I don't know that he's dead, but it would be the only logical explanation. So as you can see, I have a personal desire to put an end to this case and apprehend the murderers, and make sure that they are held accountable for their crimes. Unfortunately, due to the lack of progress that I've been able to make on this case, have a feeling that the only way that I'm going to catch someone is to catch them in the act, or to follow the leads. Perhaps maybe if you look into things, not being a known police officer, then you might have more luck digging up some information. But I'd warn you, again, to do so with care, if that's something that you truly wish to do, out of your desire to make a connection with your friend's death. You might want to look into the Blue Pyramid Club in Soho. It's often frequented by both resident and visiting Egyptian businessmen. Many of the victims had frequented the club prior to their death. I looked into the club and had the place under surveillance, but learned nothing, for my men were pulled away to attend other police work. I also interviewed a number of people with connections to Egypt. The vast majority had little to offer, although a spice dealer named Zahra Shafiq interested me. Shafiq had worked with the Pinhu Foundation in the past. She recognized the name, but also denied that the Brotherhood of the Black Pharaoh existed, just as Gavigan had. Something about her gave me the impression that there was more that she was not saying, though. Maybe because she knew that I was an inspector. I had her tailed for a few days, which confirmed that she also frequented the Blue Pyramid Club, but little else. I'm sorry at this point. That's all that I really have to share with you. Again, if you're going to go digging into these murders, then I suggest that you keep a leash on your American friends, and that you do so with caution, lest you wind up like Inspector Munden. You guys went back up to the front desk looking for tea. You're not listening at the keyhole.
Yes, I am.
Let's see. If it tells who the non-Egyptians were. We're just gonna call him James, Connors?
Gadget.
James Connors. And, Adam, McElroy. He tells you that there doesn't appear to be any kind of connection related to the timing of the deaths. Yes, Miss Ward, and I would appreciate if you find anything to be sure to let me know right away. He stands from his chair, as every good British gentleman will whenever seeing a lady out. He moves over to go get the door for you.
So did you two have a good talk about some tea and empires and suppressing the colored race?
The other two are out at the front desk, looking for some tea.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sun never sets on the British Empire, eh?
Yeah, he kind of seems like an ass, to be honest.
Shall we go meet up with the others and exchange some information?
Why do I need a general touch when I got a 45?
Now, one thing that I want you to take away from this, Irene, and this is out of character. You had asked your people whether or not there were any cult activity going on in England, and they told you no. And so, the reason they told you no, even though you're just now finding out about, or you didn't have any reports that you had found about cult activity whenever you were doing that research. The reason that they had said no was because, as far as the authorities here are concerned, there is no cult activity. This is just about a month ago, whenever um, Jackson Elias mentioned the cult to the inspector was the first time there really came to be any kind of a possible connection with a cult. They never even contemplated that this was some sort of a death cult or anything else until Jackson Elias mentioned it to him. Of course, then as you found out from your discussion with him, he went and he talked to Pinhew to try to see whether or not Elias was just full of hot air, if there was any substantiality to his statement, and Pinhew basically dismissed it and said, "Yeah, this guy's a crackpot. He's just trying to raise, concerns and sensationalize stuff, and this Black Pharaoh cult. Yeah, it existed at one point, but it's been uh, been a dead cult, for centuries. So yes, they originally just thought it was a serial killer who killed Egyptians, and that's how they were treating the case. And in a way, they still kind of are treating it that way, until here recently, whenever he considered that maybe there may be more than just one person actually involved, based on some of the new forensic evidence that has been gained. And so he's kind of on the fence whenever he was talking to you about this being a potential cult. Um, he seemed like he was on the fence, not really sure that he believed that it was a cult, but it definitely is. He thinks that, there's not just one murder, but there might potentially be a group of people. And but yes, it is being basically treated as a mob hate crime kind of a thing, where these people are targeting Egyptians and killing them, except for those two isolated um, events. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention. I don't know if you had even remembered your investigation, whenever you were at your office. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention so that you knew why you didn't have any potential leads to these murders that were taking place, because you were looking for cult-related type activities. And as far as the media and the police and everything else, they're not really treating it as cult activities. So anyway, back to events. So you guys head out to the front lobby. You have spent a good deal of time here, both waiting and talking to the inspector. And I'm going to call it, by the time you get out of the police station and back out onto the streets, it's going to be about 11 a.m. Is there anything else that you wish to do with the remainder of your day?
So on my background sheet, I'm a Freemason, so I would want to spend some time and actually go to the Grand Lodge, since it's Lodge number 1.
Okay.
And meet some folks, and no particular agenda, but just go, introduce myself, see the building, and, maybe make some contacts.
Okay. That is certainly something that we can do. We don't really have to have a spotlight out of it unless you're wanting to create some tangible in-character kind of a thing to it beyond just...
No, I'm not gonna The only thing I would say is, if there was any strange news, because, the Masons are a secretive society, of course. So if they have any, I might mention in passing the Carlisle expedition and see if anyone says anything. But that's not my primary. My primary is pretty much to just in character. That's something that he would do.
Okay. Um, Whenever you mention the Carlisle expedition, it is, of course, something that they're aware of. Um, they have looked into it. They actually have looked into many of the expeditions in going to Egypt, and um, have the Freemasons in general have a lot of interest in Egypt and the excavations and the findings and everything else there. You not being uh, a lodge member, they probably are not going to share secrets with you. Um, but
Actually, I don't know if you know much about Freemasonry or not. I'm not a Mason, but I used to. I have a lot of friends. I almost joined, but their lodges are always open to other members.
okay, well then, so when you say open, I mean you can go there, but are they going to treat you like you're a longtime friend, or?
Yeah, if you're a third level a Master Mason, you've got apprentice, journeyman, and Master Mason, and then they have different levels past that. But once you have your Master Mason, you're free in any lodge, and you're treated as an equal, as a brother.
Okay, so then they're going to. This I'm just completely winging this. This is not in the
Sure.
adventure, obviously, but they're going to share with you information about the discoveries in Egypt and how some of um, the mysteries that are being unearthed in Egypt are uh, really bringing to light a lot of historical events, and they're trying to align their organization to um, profit from that in the best way possible. You know, may not may not necessarily be monetary profit, but at least the holding of power and everything else. And so, they have quite a discussion with you about the Carlisle expedition, what happened to them. Um, of course, they don't know anything that anyone else knows, but it's common knowledge and belief amongst everyone that the expedition members were killed, and that the the natives, there in Kenya were held responsible for it and tried and hung and everything else.
I'll fill them in too. I'll just be free with the information that I learned back in the States. Because if they see anything like that, they could contact through the lodges and share that information. Because he doesn't know if this has any ties to Freemasonry or occultism or anything like.
Uh, sure. I'll let you make a hard um what would be like a contacts kind of a thing.
Persuade. Only thing I
Yeah,
see on the sheet.
I was kind of thinking persuade, but um it's kind of more related to
Could be luck too, but
who you know and that sort of stuff. So give me go ahead and give me a hard persuasion roll to see whether or not you can
Nope.
find uh, a lodge mate, lodge member within the. Um, I know you've already failed. I'm just on a train of thought here and have to finish it.
Yeah,
Um,
sure.
see if you have a lodge member who is in the government ranks, who might be able to expedite the paperwork and getting you a permit. But as you talk to people, it seems like this person is unavailable or that person's unavailable, and you don't manage making any kind of progress in finding someone who can make that happen for you.
Well, thank you for your hospitality. I've always wanted to see the original lodge where it all started. I know it actually started in Solomon's Temple, but it's the closest thing we have here in London. It's beautiful. If you're ever in the DC area, feel free to stop by. I'll show you around.
They thank you for your friendship and being a member and all of that stuff. And so you spend a good amount of time there, and we'll just say that that's what you do for the rest of the day.
Sounds good.
Alonzo, what are you doing for the rest of the day?
I was hoping to go back and talk to everybody and exchange information. And,
Okay. So you're just heading back to Barney's townhouse, and
yeah, and I think try to convince them that we should go to the Blue Pyramid Club tonight.
okay. So you just head straight back to the townhouse, and you find the place empty, other than the servant staff, the butler and the maids and everything else. Of course, they're busy cleaning the place up and doing what they do to make sure that
Hey, Jeevesy, how about a cup of tea?
I'm sorry, sir. My name is not Jeeves.
Just get the tea, all right?
What was his name, Barney? You named him. I forget what his name was. I'm pretty sure I wrote it down too. Oh, Harold. Yep, I have it right here on my notes. Harold the butler.
Ah, yeah, Harry. Actually, people find me really charming.
No, sir, not Harry. Harold.
Harold.
Yes,
right.
And I will.
How about that tea, Harold?
I will get your tea for you, sir, because you are a friend of Barnabas's.
Damn straight. You're a stand-up guy, Harold.
He just maintains a straight composure, just, pure business. You kind of get the feeling that he'd like to just drop kick you, but he's too proper to do that.
That's right, Harold. Keep that stiff upper lip.
However, he's not above putting something in your tea. So
Like a tea bag?
possibly, yeah. Alright, so you hang out at the townhouse and just wait for everyone to show up. Okay, now, Irene, you wanted to talk to your brother. Hey, you head over to your brother's apartment that he has. Okay, well, it's in the middle of the day, so he would be at work. Unless you're wanting to wait until after work is over. Okay, what does he do for work? And let me write these notes down here. Okay, he's your brother, it's your story, so you tell me what you want it to be. And it will be so. Make it so, number one. Okay. Okay, do you want it to be like at a factory? You know, factories are a pretty big deal here in London. Okay, so a factory manager. And your brother's real name is... It's not on your character sheet. William, that's right. William. And he is a factory manager. Married. Kids? Oh, yes, I need to shut off the typing noise here since you're out of the... There we go. Now I need to find factory sounds. Okay. One child. Okay. 2 to 3 years old. Okay. And according to your agency, involved with Jared Devonshire. I mean Covington. Okay. All right. So, you are waiting for him to get off work. Then, are you meeting at his house, or are you going to try and just catch him as he's leaving the factory, or how are you going to handle that? Okay. And do you have an objection to me using your real name in chat? As long as the others remember that it is purely out of character knowledge. Alright. Then I will have him not use your name then. He'll just call you Sis. Right, but I think even though he's not there in character, I think that Taragnor is wanting to keep it a secret even out of character. And I don't want to spill character secrets. Alright, so you meet him. He's just playing hard to get. Alright, you meet him and he's leaving the office. He spots you and his face, he has like a really serious look on his face, almost kind of perturbed, downtrodden, troubled. Just something is on his mind, but as soon as he sees you, suddenly his face brightens up. He says, "Sis, you're back. How was the States?" Yeah, that's understandable. But there is one problem with that. If he calls the Gazette and asks for you by your real name, then and you go by Irene, yeah, and your department would have like a dummy line, that people call in to verify employment or something of that nature. So whenever he calls, if he ever calls, uh, your government agency that is buried under uh, phone numbers that are hard to track down and all that kind of stuff. So uh, if he even had your work number, and whenever he calls that and he asks for you by your real name, there's going to be a handler who works there who forwards the call for you or makes up an excuse as to why you can't come to the phone or something of that nature. So did you at least get to visit New York some? I've heard that it's a grand city. Nothing like London, of course, but they say that it's up and coming. Oh, I so wish that I could have gone to New York with you, but I couldn't get off work. It's so nice to see you, sis. So what brings you by? I was just getting ready to head home to Judy. And let's see. Judy and I got another name here. Judy and Matthew. Leonard was the guy who was there with Jared, yes. He suddenly gets a bit of a concerned look on his face. He says, "Sis, don't worry about it. It's nothing. Who told you?" Yes, I know who the Covingtons are. You don't understand, sis. There's just stuff that I can't tell you. I am thinking about Judy and Matt. Wait, what is it that you think is going on? No, sis, you wouldn't understand. It's best if you just stay out of it. I don't want you to get in trouble too. Threatened me? Who are you talking about? You wouldn't understand, sis. I let's talk about something else. I'll manage. I'll work it all out. Yes, I'm I'm not doing anything with Jared. And he kind of stops talking. He kind of seals his lips, just afraid that to go on and talk about things any further. You know your brother, and you kind of know whenever he's telling a lie or not. You don't feel like he's lying per se, but there is obviously something more that he's not telling you. It's nothing you can help with, sis. Your little office job is you're you're nice and safe and secure working with the government, and you get to travel, and you know that you'll have a job for you. Not all of us are that lucky. I did. I did get promoted manager, but sometimes there's a price to pay with advancement. Uh, just don't worry about it, sis. There's nothing that you can do. Well, if I want to keep my job, and if I want to continue with the company, then yes. I need this job. How else do you suppose that I support Judy and Matt? Jobs are hard to come by these days. Just look at the labor lines. All the people out there that are homeless. You think that he's telling the truth? Of course, just like before, I mean, there's more to the story. That he's not telling you, but do we really have to get into this right now, sis? I mean, just let it lie. Yeah, it'll all work out. There's nothing that you can do from your office anyway. Are you the older sister, or is he the older brother? Okay. No, I don't think she did. You can tell that he is not going to divulge any information. As far as he's concerned, he doesn't want to involve you in whatever it is that he's tied up with, unless you can cajole him into it. And so, if you, before you make a roll, if you wish to set up a scenario for me, then I may or may not give you some assistance to your roll. So you tell me how if you're going to keep pressing the issue, you tell me how you're going to do that, and then we'll work out the details of the difficulty and everything else. But you can tell he's not wanting to openly share this information with you. He wants you to stay out of it. And you get from the way that he's talking about it that he thinks that he's keeping you safe, and that he doesn't want you getting involved so that you don't get tangled up in everything, that he has it under control, so that there's nothing that you can do anyway because you're just some government paper pusher and you don't really have any power of any sort, since that's the way that you've portrayed yourself to him. He kind of stops for a moment. He's kind of biting his lip a little bit. You're not sure whether or not he's quite ready to open up to you or not. Okay, are you going to, with your statement that there's something going on, you can tell you've always been there for him, are you going to add anything else into that? Okay, so I'm going to make it a hard roll, but I'm going to give you a bonus die for your situational. You choose. I would say persuade is probably more fitting to what you're describing. But you could also be kind of charming him as well. Yeah, hard was your difficulty level, so by spending the 6 luck, then you got it. okay. You can see that he's about to crack, and he says, "It's I can't talk about it here. I don't know who might be listening. I don't want them to know that you're involved too." Then he picks up his voice a little bit. He kind of whispered that, and then he raises his voice a little bit, and he says, "Sure, sis. Let's go out for some fish and chips." I hope Judy doesn't get concerned if I'm not home on time, though. You think maybe we could stop and I could give her a call? He looks shocked, aghast. It's like, seriously? How could they not know that? Alright, you stop off at a telephone, and he rings the house and talks to Judy, and he lets her know that he's with you and that he'll be home later than usual, but everything is okay. And she asks to talk to you, and he hands the phone over to you. And he said, "Judy wants to say hi." "Hello? I'm great. I'm great. How have you been?" "How was your trip?" "No, no, as long as he's with you, then it's okay. I just wanted to hear your voice." "Yes, well, don't be a stranger. Be sure to come by and see us. Little Will, little Matt is getting so big." He talks about his auntie all the time. Oh, sounds like such a dreadful job. Whenever are you going to settle down and find yourself a husband? Alonzo is not with you, Charles. Remember, you're back at the the lodge, and Alonzo is hanging out at Barney's townhouse. Yeah, we'll have all you guys converge on the townhouse roughly around the same time. Yes, he's so used to talking to Alonzo that now he does it in in his spare time. He misses Alonzo so much. No, he has recovered from that. Yes, if you're done talking to Judy, then uh, she bids you farewell. Have fun hanging out with William, and let him know that she's going to go ahead and feed Matthew, and to be careful and not stay out too late. Give me a psychology roll. You get the feeling that something was troubling Judy as she was talking to you. She seemed to be relieved that, and it was beyond just the normal wanting to talk to her sister-in-law kind of a thing. She was relieved to hear that you were going out with William. Okay, so then you guys go to your nice, quiet place. Are you actually going to go have fish and chips, or was that just just a cover story. Yeah, you know of several places that have fish and chips, and several pubs. But there's a couple places that you could go to that are kind of that you could find some discreet seating at. Yeah, whatever you want. You can go to one of the loud pubs if you want. There's plenty of those. It's actually closer to dinner because you said that you were catching him as he got off work. So we're gonna say it's close to about 4 p.m. here. Okay, so you go to a popular pub that has good fish and chips. You know, your London uh, inhabitants, so you know all the good local places to eat. You get a seat. You place your order, and how are you going to break the ice with William? Sis, I I'm just trying to keep my job. I need this job. It's a good job. I get paid a lot for what I do, and Judy and Matt, we all need the money. You can tell that he's still anxious and kind of hesitant to spill the beans. But as you continue to hold his hand and encourage him, well, it was my boss. My he he told me that I needed to make friends with Jared. That there was stuff that he was doing that they wanted to know about. Yes. You you said that you knew his cousin Barnabas. Oh, so he's not a friend of yours. Uh, he told you that he saw me there. Yes, well, I I didn't use my real name. I'm not I'm not that dense. I told him that my name was Leonard. He doesn't even really know who I am. Neither does Jared either. Jared thinks my name is Leonard also. So how did you even know that it was me? He kind of shakes his head. He's like, Sis, when are you ever gonna let it go? You don't have to always watch me. Anyway, Jared is into stuff. He has some peculiar tastes, some fetishes. Well, no, not not exactly. I mean, I was just told to spy on him. To get information. You know, the things that he does, the people that he sees. He's about our age, and I was told to make friends with him. They told me where he hung out at. So I went and well, you know how I am with people. You know, I talked to him and found out what he liked and told him my name was Leonard and you know pretended that I liked the same things and before you know it we were pals. He looks at you a bit shocked. It's like, no, no, I don't do those things. I have Judy and Matt. Sure, go ahead. You believe what he is saying. He is kind of he's kind of shocked that you would even well one, he's only briefly alluded to just some unusual appetites and fetishes and stuff like that. He hasn't really truly come out and said what it is. But he does honestly seem aghast at the fact that you would think that he's involved with this unspoken thing that and you know that he has Judy and Matt, you know that he's concerned about. what did you think that I was involved in? I mean, do people really know what Jared does? I mean, why am I even spying on him then? Of course, he doesn't know that you're like top secret spy agency, knows everything about everyone. He just thinks you're some paper pusher, and that it's like common knowledge that everyone knows. Yes, his sister that he lost. All right, let's see. He he has parties with friends, with other with friends of different different values. Yes, yes, something definitely that the church would frown on, but not even just the church, just people in general. You know, something that could be used to leverage politics. Yes, yes, but I'm not blackmailing him. I'm not involved in any of it. I'm just getting the information and I'm giving it to my bosses. I was told that I had to do this if I wanted to keep my job. I don't know what they're gonna do. They just said that they wanted to know what his activities were. I mean, as I told you, I'm not dense. I can only guess that since his uncle is in Parliament that it has something to do with politics. Otherwise, why would anyone care where he puts his thingy? I've not done anything, sis. I've just hung out with him. I've not done anything at all. Just trying to keep my job so that Judy and Matt have money to go to school, to have a house. I've just told them what I've seen so far. There have been some pictures, but not anything that is lewd and outright incriminating. Not yet, at least. But I was told that I needed to get more evidence. Well, my boss that called me into the office is Thomas Jacobs. But I don't know that he's the one who's behind everything. I mean, he's probably just taking orders from someone else. I don't know what Tom would do with that information. He's just my supervisor. Is it really that bad, sis? I mean, they don't know who I am, and I've not done anything except for just tell what I've seen. Anyone could do that. All right. I don't know what you think you can do about it. About this time, your fish and chips order is ready, and the waitress comes up as you pause your sentence after saying improvise, and she throws down your platters with your fish and chips on it, and your malt vinegar, and your beverages. Yep, you better kill her, better poison her.
Here you go, love.
No, I'm just messing with you. I just rolled that because I want to make you worry. You suddenly start getting very sleepy. Nope, you enjoy your meal. Um, Although the fish and chips is a little bit too greasy and gives you a little bit of indigestion. And uh, you have to relieve yourself and go to the restroom so you don't embarrass yourself in front of your brother. Oh, you've been here before, and the fish and chips were great. Just this particular batch, maybe it was some old grease or something. Or maybe just your digestive tract is not used to original fish and chips. After traveling. Alright, so you have your conversation with your brother. Is there anything else? Exactly. Is there anything else that you want to continue on with the conversation with your brother? Or do you eat your food and just make small talk and catch up? Normal brother sister stuff. Okay. He basically just told you that Tom is his supervisor. He's the next one up in the chain, and that he's doesn't really hold any super. I mean, it's not like he's the head of the company or anything like that. So you kind of he gets the feeling that basically shit's rolling downhill. You know that he was told to. He could tell you who the owner of the company is. Or, I mean, you could figure that out yourself. I mean, it'd be in the public record. It's David. Um, Jordan. Is the owner of the company. Or the factory. That would be a research roll. Just offhand. Just what you know. You could give me an idea roll. And just what you know just offhand, you have no idea. So if you're wanting to research him to find out any additional information, then that would be something that you could do. I don't know. Does Irene want to involve other people in her brother's indiscretions? Alright, so you finish up your fish and chips. By the time you're done catching up with William, and you get back to the townhouse, it is late afternoon, early evening. And at about the same time, Charles is arriving from the lodge. Kansas and Barney are arriving from the Pinhue Foundation after they've been perusing through the various different books in the library. And so you guys all converge on the townhouse. And now it's time for you to share information. I thought that we handled that last time, Kansas. You and Barney both made research rolls. I have to go back and review the video, but I think that I just gave you general knowledge about archaeologic digs and things of that nature, but you didn't find out anything specific. Or actually, yes, you did. You found out something about the Black Pharaoh. That's what it was. If you or I forget who it was. It was you or Barney, one or the other, succeeded at a research roll. So let me get over here to the library research information. Pinhue Foundation in the library with the candlestick. The library solely concerns things Egyptians. Investigators spending 1d4 plus 1 days in a successful library use find an intriguing passage. Oh, that's because not enough time has passed. Because on your 1d4 plus 1 days, I think that ended up being like 2 or 3 days. So you haven't spent enough time reading. So I just let slip out some information that you're going to metagame with, aren't you? Okay, I'm actually going to go ahead and give this to you because it's stupid for you to do it for metagame purposes. Plus, a successful library use roll halves the amount of research time. So we'll just say since you spent all day there, you didn't just go for a couple hours. You actually were up there for pretty much the full day. Just as you're wrapping up at the end of the day, actually, if Barney wants to spend 6 luck for an extreme success, then we'll say that Barney yep, you get a ticket. Okay, Barney finds something as you guys are wrapping up. He pulls down a book and he's just reading some various different things as he's trying to learn a little bit to improve his knowledge of archaeology in Egypt and all that kind of stuff. And he finds a passage that he really can't quite make much sense of, and so he shows it to Kansas. And it's about the fourth dynasty. And there was a person that was kind of like a pharaoh, but didn't really refer to him necessarily directly as the pharaoh. He was more like a pharaoh-like figure in the fourth dynasty. But the passage talks about this person, or personage, and relates to them as the Black Pharaoh. Now the odd thing is, and this is where things really get interesting due to your combined library use rolls. You guys have gone through lots of other books in the library, and there's no other book in here that has any reference at all to the Black Pharaoh. In fact, after you read this book and you come across this reference to the Black Pharaoh, you quickly look up some other books that you've come across that relate to the fourth dynasty, and they're completely missing any reference to this name. You also notice that there are some pages missing in some of the other books during the fourth dynasty that are discussing things about the fourth dynasty. Sure. Go ahead. Archaeology or idea? And no, you have never heard of this Black Pharaoh. You have no idea what it is. Oh, looks like we had another mass disconnect. What is the deal with that? It's like right as we're... Well, Kansas is still in here. Irene is still in here. Right, it wasn't anything on my end. Yeah, it said Brice lost connection and then reconnected. And it said Taragnor reconnected. And it said Pixel lost connection. And then he reconnected. So, weird. Well, like I said, because of the extreme success, you notice that when you go to cross-reference it with other books, you notice that not only is it not mentioned anywhere else, but there's also some pages that are missing from some of the other 4th Dynasty books or manuscripts. You probably wouldn't have ever had thought anything of it because the portions that were moved were fairly uniform. You know, it didn't really make an obvious break in the context of the information. But every other book, well, not every other book, there's several other 4th Dynasty books or journals that have some missing pages. This one, however, has no missing pages, at least not that you can tell. You look at the binding and you can't tell where there's been any pages that have been removed from it. I know they're going to be. They did this kind of like a retroactive kind of a thing. They are back at the townhouse at 7 p.m. along with everyone else. So at this point, we're going to fade scene on what everyone was doing for the rest of the day, and we open up into a new scene with everyone all sitting in the common room at Barney's townhouse discussing what has transpired during the day. So this is now a roleplay opportunity for you guys to fill up the remaining session time frame. And whenever you guys are done, or if this persists for a long period of time, then we'll just pause it and continue it next session.
So where you guys been all this time? Did you learn anything over wherever it was you were?
Yeah, I learned that I really value time away from.
Always with the wisecracks this one.
Yeah, I'm just giving you a hard time. No, I went and visited the lodge. I thought I was on a roll pissing off the police inspector, so I thought I would just cool my horses for a bit. You guys find anything useful?
So what'd you do? The secret handshake and then paddle each other?
Yeah, something like that. We talked how much we like Chinese people.
Somebody has to. Not a big fan myself.
Hey, good noodles.
Let's hear from somebody else here. Mr. Kansas, what have you been up to? Hey, didn't that inspector fellow mention something about a Gavigan before he tossed us out of his office?
I'm going to interject here just a little bit. It wasn't so much that the inspector didn't trust him much. The inspector just simply relayed the information that um, that Gavigan had told him that um, Jackson Elias was just a glory-seeking uh, journalist, kind of a person. And that's what made you guys kind of put your radar on Gavigan, because it seemed like he was bad mouthing your friend. Yeah, said that person had connections to the Penhew Foundation, I think was what it was. But that didn't necessarily make him directly mistrust Gavigan. He didn't really have any information one way or the other. Let me look that back up again. Shafiq had
What do you mean the books were... Sorry.
Shafiq had worked with the Penhew Foundation in the past. She recognized the name, but also denied that the Brotherhood of Black Pharaoh still existed.
What do you mean the books have been altered? How? Well, that certainly tells me we're on the right track. I'd like to suggest we head over to the Blue Pyramid Club tonight.
I wonder if the lodge library has anything about that book. Maybe if we got a title, we could look it up. Or maybe we could try to cross-reference to other libraries.
A lot of these books, Charles, were not like published library books. They were mostly private journals and research notes and things of that nature. So, not something that you would find in most public libraries.
Maybe does it have a signer's name? Maybe they got other books they publish.
There could be information in the British Museum about the Black Pharaoh cult.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Baby Danger's my middle name.
But you're not Egyptian, so you should be safe, right?
Good point. Any other leads we should be following besides the Blue Pyramid Club? Or do you want to maybe try to break into the pen you place at night after hours? David Jordan, that's kind of a generic name. That'd be a hard one to track down. I like the sound of that safe. Anybody got any lock-picking skills?
Well, I don't know about skills, but I got some lockpicks.
Yeah, we're not talking about picking your nose here, Charlie.
You're the surgeon, right? Shouldn't you have some steady hands?
I'm a GP, not a surgeon.
Well, from what I saw, you're not a very good doctor.
I might have a stethoscope in my bag somewhere. We vote we go back to the Penhew tonight. That's the whole point, Irene. They're not open at night. Nobody will be around. Don't tell me that shocks your fine English sensibility.
We gotta work on this whole making friends thing. You know, you should be like, hey, my name's Alonzo. Would you like a fortune cookie?
Out of the mouth of babes.
And you know, Alonzo, your track record for being stealthy ain't so hot.
I tripped once. Once!
So you're batting 100. 1 for 1. I don't like those odds.
Yeah, well, if some of you guys are going to go over to the Penhew, I'm not going to go to the Blue Pyramid by myself.
But you would go to the Blue Oyster.
Well, maybe you could be a distraction if needed.
Blue Oyster. Is that another cult?
No.
Charlie, don't fear the Reaper.
Hey, I'm not afraid of nothing. I just, well, yeah, I'm kind of afraid of you fucking it up, to be honest.
Okay, you tell us what you want to do, Chucky boy.
I'd like to put a gag in your mouth and throw you off a bridge.
Yeah, we already know that. How about a little something constructive?
I mean, we're in Irene's backyard and Barney's. I would say leave it to them. Last thing I want to do is end up in an English prison. Well, Egyptian prison would be worse, but we're in England. On a scale of 1 to 100, Kansas looks like a 34. He might be okay. Irene, Barney, it's your call. We're in your country.
So what are we going to do? Play tiddlywinks?
We're going to play support. We're going to do what they need. And if that's stay back here, that's what we do. Of course, I am kind of stealthy. And I got lockpicks. And I can definitely shoot some fuckers.
You're definitely weaselly.
Hopefully it won't come to that. That's true. I am a bit weaselly, and I do like cheese.
Kind of late at night to be researching anything, Irene. I think the credits are rolling.
Go ahead, keep on your conversation there as we roll our ending credits here.
I've been stuck in this house, and I don't feel like spending an evening here with Mr. FBI, so tell me what you want me to do. Anybody coming with me?
Alonzo, can you pick a lock? Is that something you?
Not one of my skills.
We'll just add that to the list of not one of my skills. That's a long list.
Yeah, I'd lobbed that one right to you, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Glad to see you're not so blind after all.
You're the one tripping around in the dark.
Sounds like a good plan, Barney. See, Charlie? Barney's got a constructive plan. I got to get to bed.
Alright, well, this is a good place for us to stop then. And I'm going to